this is our third webinar, coaches, and please God, looks like there's light at the end of the tunnel, and hopefully in a few weeks' time we'll all be out on the green grass again, coaching, where we all want to be. So hopefully you'll get something out of tonight's session, coaches, that you can take with you out onto the fields again. Games and activities to improve your team scoring and defensive opportunities. So I'll be showing wee games and wee activities that will improve in that area, coaches. Hopefully I would say about 35, 40 minutes, maybe 1 or 2 minutes longer, not around that time. And then there's been a lot of questions that's been put in whenever Jens was registering for this webinar tonight. So I'll do my best to answer as many as possible to finish up. Now, you also have the opportunity of texting in now during the live show here, and Paul will be looking after the questions, so he'll be passing on to me at the end of the show, end of the presentation, if there's any more to be answered. So before I start again, would make that point when we're advertising this webinar, coaches, that this is going to be on football format. You'll see footballs. You'll not see any slitters, unfortunately. We put this together, this animated activities, and maybe 10 or 12 years ago, myself and Dermot Morrison from Armagh would have put this together as part of our work back then. And believe it or not, had gone missing for a few years and forgot about it, and no better time than now to show this stuff again, because at this time, especially in these strange times, this will be maybe, as I say, it'll be useful to you. And there's a few videos taken from Abbottstown a few years ago when we had an under 16 Ulster group down, and I'm showing a few scoring activities with them during the presentation. So I think we'll get started here, coaches. So we'll move on. Right, I showed this wee video two weeks ago, and I know I'm aware there's maybe some coaches on the night again that was on 2 weeks ago when I was doing my first webinar with content in it, and I'm showing tonight again because I like it. It's a funny one. It's with the wee squirrel, and as I say, anybody that hasn't been on and they haven't seen it before, you'll get a wee laugh out of it. And I'm putting a heading up the top: is good coaching necessary? When you see this wee squirrel after getting a wee sports drink, is it just as handy as that? So we'll play this wee video, short video.
Hey, så der, skynd dig. Vent. Shh. Ny Carlsberg Sport Inside.
As I say, is a wee drink just as handy as a wee sports drink to get the skills level up very high. It's just not as handy as that. We all know that, coaches. Right, just the first wee slide here, coaches. How do we coach? How do we coach? There's three major styles of coaching. There's the command style, the dictator, his way or her way or no way. There's also the submissive style, maybe shying away from making decisions. And then the third one here is the cooperative style, the facilitator, two parties working to a common goal. So, yes, everybody has their style of coaching and all that, but I would say, and I'm sure you will agree with me, especially the way coaching and things are going, that the cooperative style is possibly the one that is the best, because you want your players to buy into well, it's your system or style of play, whatever. And if you're trying to demand something and you feel a number of your players are not with you on it, then it's going to be very hard for it to work. So as I say, it's about two parties, the management team and the players working together to come into a common goal. So I think that's it's very important. Myself, looking back in my own career, and I put some up like this 2 weeks ago. Not the same, but some in the same lines. Coaches that I feel had the X factor, and I'm using just one words here, just single words. Honesty. You couldn't beat honesty, coaches. I'm sure you all know this anyway, but what I mean by honesty is, maybe promising me Johnny or Mary, or no matter what level, underage or senior, if you're telling a player, oh, they're playing brilliantly and thinning and they're going to get a chance the next game out, and that chance doesn't come for them, then that's not being honest. So what I'm saying to you is, whenever you're communicating with your players, as I say, this is my opinion, it's very important to be honest with your group of players, individually or as a group. It's very important. Knowledge, it's not really important as such. You don't need to have played the game or whatever, but you need to have a certain amount of knowledge about the game that you're coaching. That's all I'm saying. As I say, you don't need to have played it or whatever, but as long as you have a certain amount of knowledge, confident, very important. You have to have confidence in yourself. Have to. Care. What do I mean by caring? Father figure, mother figure. Just, as I say, that every player in the squad feels at home. That you're, as I say, you're treating everybody the same, and you're caring for them, and they'll do anything for you. They feel that you're the coaches, you're part of the team, on the same level. Very important. You have to be down to the players. If you look at any coach that had success or whatever, they were very level-headed, very much on the same pair with the players, and that's how they got the best of the players. Work ethic. When I say work ethic, coaches, when I say work ethic, I'm talking about being the first at your training sessions, and possibly being the last leaving. That when you go there till your sessions, you're there 20 or half an hour before your session. You're set up, you're organised, you're not rushing on the last seconds till set out your session. That you're there in time, and as I say, you're possibly the last one leaving at night after the session. So, work ethic, motivator. What I mean by that is that when you're coaching a session, that you're among them, you're among your players, no matter what age they are. You're among your players. You're buzzing. You're giving them feedback, and you're spotting and correcting. You're, as I say, you're full of beans. You're not lying over the wire talking to your workmate about what we're going to do tomorrow at work, and letting the boys or girls do the activity or the game themselves. That doesn't work. The players nowadays don't buy into that. They'll not accept that. They'll not accept that. You'll find out you'll get a decrease in your training sessions. You'll not get an increase, because I know myself. I've 3 children myself, and I know whenever they were growing up through the teens, that they were fit to tell me when they come home at night if they enjoyed it or not. So you have to be among them for them to have enjoyment. And I have in the centre here a winner. And don't get me wrong, I am not saying it's winning at all costs. No, I'm not saying that you have to win it on the 14 level or on the 12 level. No. What I'm saying is, a winner could be, you could be playing in a section this year, hopefully. You could be playing in the section that that there's only going to be one team going to win the championship at any level. And there's usually 2 or 3 teams fancied. You might not be in that region. So winning a cup's not in your region. It might be winning a game. It might be winning 2 games. It might be running some team to 6 or 7 points. That's a one to you. So what I'm saying is, you have to get the energy out of the group and get them to play to their best, and they'll react to that. That's what I'm saying. So okay, I done this 2 weeks ago too, coaches. Catchphrase, you know, the program on television. Ignore that photograph on your left-hand side. But as I say, we'll go through. There'll be new coaches maybe on the night, so ignore that photo on the left-hand side. But think of these two here to the right. What's the catchphrase? Say what you see. You see a wee puppy or whatever, and there's a spot on it, and you see down here a boy trying to fix a TV. So he's trying to fix some. So it's spot and fix. And that's so important now in modern day coaching. It's no good anymore. It's maybe not even acceptable anymore that you go out and you run a session. Yes, I know you're just giving up your free time and all that, but when you do give up your free time to coach your wee team, you'd want to do it to your best. What I'm saying is, if Johnny or whatever, or Lizzie or Mary is doing that wee drill wrong, or even a senior player doing something wrong, or the wrong technique, that you can spot it and you can take that wee player out of the group, or you might even have to take, you might just a wee quiet word in his ear or her ear and show the proper technique, spot and fix, and they can go back into the group again or back into the game again, whatever the case will be. Very important phrase in modern day coaching, that you spot and you fix, because if you don't fix it, if you don't spot it, it'll never be fixed. So it's all right running a coaching session and that going lovely and all that, but if you're not correcting the wee mistakes that's happening out there, your team or individual will not get any better. Okay, right, that's us. I'm going to run through these first three. We're done in Abbottstown. They're about scoring coaches. They're all about the scoring, and the first one is, I call it 1-2 to succeed. And what I mean by that is there's 3 shots by 3 different players, and they can score 1 goal and 2 points. So it's 1-2 to succeed, and you want them to score all their scores on this one. So just watch. Just watch it first a wee minute, coaches, and then I'll maybe talk briefly about it. Just watch what's happening. They're in groups of 3. They start roughly in the 45. This is not a 16 group. You can take it out a bit further for seniors. You can take it out further for hurlers or whatever. Camogues, maybe it's, you decide. On the age players in Gaelic football, on the 14s, whatever, you decide the length. But that's roughly what I made it that day. So the video repeats itself here, so it's on continuous reel. So we'll just watch. Well, maybe we'll stop it here. So, coaches, what's happening here is you can imagine. Just imagine you have 21 players, 22 players at training. Just imagine you have 22 players. So what I'm saying is you'd have 7 groups of 3. So you could start off with 5 groups of 3 out of the 45, and say 2 groups of 3 on the side of the goals to get the first 3 balls that comes in, and then they go out, and the 3 that shoots goes in, waits their turn to get 3 more balls and comes back out to the 45. These two, and I'm using coaches there. These 2 coaches here. I had extra coaches with me that day, so I used them there. What points? Perfect for, or you could use injured players there, and them inside Cohen's. And of course, you have a goalie in goals for that. We had 2 goalies that day down, so they changed every so often. So you have an opportunity to score 1-2. Right foot to this side, left foot to that side, and then straight through the middle for the goal. And as I say, you decide from the 16th, I took it to 45. You can take a wee bit further, and for hurlers, I can go further out the field. So hold on to go out of here again, and I'm maybe going to play it here one more time. Just watch. It starts, the middle player of the 3 on the 45 starts the ball. I think he slips the ball to the player on the left. He can go right if he wants to, but the third man has to get the ball. and then it has to go back to the middleman again, and he goes to the goal. So it's 1 to 2, say, to the left, to the 3, and then back to the middleman who goes to the goal, and then these two men on the outside crisscross over. This player goes here, takes the ball, left foot. This player here goes here, takes the ball, right foot over the bar. So Ian's all happy with that. The two outside players crisscross over. The distance between the players to start here, coaches, and I'll just show it again here. The distance here, and I'm on about these players here at the start. It's about 4 or 5 steps between these 3 players. 4 or 5 steps between them 2 cones, and then 4 or 5 steps, and I mean steps. And that's really all. 8 to 10 steps. Finance we see now. I'll stop it again. Okay, maybe 8 to 10 steps between the 2 coaches there and inside, and 4 or 5 steps to the players between them and the outside there, between the players to start. Another one, and I nearly forgot, coaches, while important, to have plenty of footballs or slitters. So plenty of balls start there at where the groups of 3s are at. Plenty of balls with this coach and plenty of balls with this coach. So if you have 21 footballs or slitters, it's 7, 7, 7. And then, as I say, when the ball's going in the shots, the players in there, they come out, leave a ball down here, leave another ball down here, and then another ball goes out to the centre to the start here. So there'll always be a balance of balls at all positions. So Ian's happy enough with that. Hopefully I've explained that. That's a great wee drill there, or a great wee activity. Brilliant for scoring practice. So it's one that can be used just before a game, or it can be used in your coaching sessions. So we'll move on to the next one here, coaches. The next is called score, score, score. So this is for 3 points. No call for a goalkeeper here. I'll just play it here, and it's all points, 3 points. So just watch it. Again, 3 players starting. The middle player starts the ball. Do you see the way the ball? It's a 3-man move. 3rd player gets the ball, he kicks the point. The other 2 players, the middle player runs straight and takes the ball of the coach to the right, and the player on the left takes the ball from the coach on the left after he gives it to the 2nd player in the black jersey. Hopefully everybody is happy with that. I'll let it play again. Another great wee drill or activity can be used for, again, in coaching sessions, or used before games. And who would you use in the middle there, coaches? Again, good for a goalkeeper system one here. You don't need a goalkeeper in because there's no goals in this one, but the goalkeepers would be good people to be standing here, good handling for them. A lot of handling of the ball here, good for goalkeepers. What's the distance? What I would say here, coaches, is, hopefully I don't forget anything, the distance is roughly about 10 steps from this player to that other player in the middle, the 2 black jerseys, and another maybe 8 to 10 steps for the 2 coaches. And then maybe a couple of, all you need is a couple of meters, a couple of steps between the 2 coaches. Just a couple of steps between the 2 coaches. So we'll play it again one last time. Just a couple of steps there, but about 10 steps between each of those the whole way right through. And they're kicked their 3 points. Again, scoring opportunities. This is, you're looking for 3 points. Again, if you're doing this with hurling, camogie, whatever, senior players, you maybe go out a wee bit further on the 14s, not far away there. These boys are 16s, and they're kicking the points from the 21. I could have taken that out a wee bit further, but it was fine. So maybe one last thing I should say, coaches, before I move on, and I'll stop it here. We see now. Hold on. One last thing, what I will say, and I didn't say this about the first one. So just bear this in mind. See, when the 3 players come back to the start, they change their positions. There's a new player in the middle. and the player in the middle goes to either side, right or left. So always change their position. So everybody gets a chance to be in the middle and on the sides. So that's very, very important that the change, and that's the same with the first activity too. So hopefully you're happy enough with that, and we'll move on to the next one. And we see now this one. I like this one here. This one here is good crack. It's also pressure on the shot, and you have to you can do shooting practice at thinning, which is important, but there has to be a wee bit of pressure on the shot too. So I'll play it here first, and I'll talk through it. So I'm just going to stop it a wee second, coaches, and explain it. What happens here is you have a group of black jerseys and a group of yellow jerseys. Say, for example, if you have 20 players, you have 10 yellows, you have 5 yellows starting there, and you have 5 yellows starting at the 45. Again, for older players, you can take it further out. For hurlers, you can take it further out. Absolutely, you'll be taking it further out for hurlers. And for older footballers, you'll be taking it further out. Again, what's happening here is a wee competition between the yellows and the black jerseys. So on my whistle, and it has to start with a coach's whistle. They blow the whistle, and the first player in the end line kicks the ball out to their teammate out here. They have to gather the ball. You have to hope for a good kick pass, because the quicker he gathers the ball or she gathers the ball, it's the first ball that's over the bar counts for a point for their team. So if the black player here, black lad with the black jersey on, if he kicks the ball over the bar first before the yellow jersey, then it'll be 1-0 to the black jerseys, or vice versa. So and then the next ball is not kicked till you blow the whistle, and the thing continues. So everyone starts on the whistle, and it's great competition for them. And just watch it here. We see, sorry. So first one over the bar there was the black jersey. So they were 1 up. That was a good kick. Second one, while important on the kick pass out, a good kick pass. And I think the black jersey got that one too. This is played in a continuous reel. I think they got the 3 there. So while important to get a good kick pass, so you're emphasizing for a good kick pass out from the end line. If you have more players there, coaches, you could have a third line. You could, I'm just going to give you an idea here, which I have done. You could have a group here in the centre of the goals, a group to the side like that, and a group to the side like that. And you could have 3 teams going there. And as I say, the key is to keep the score, to make it exciting. The players will get fed up if you don't keep the score. They'll enjoy at any level, they want to win no matter what they take part in. And that's a great game to make them competing against each other and trying to get the shot off. And just another wee thing I think I have forgot, and I'm going to stop it here. You might notice a yellow line across the field on the 14-yard line, yellow markers. Why I done that day for was, say if some team missed, and the other player noticed that, say for example, a yellow took the shot early and they missed, then I was allowing the team wearing the black jerseys that they could take the ball in, but they had to take the shot from outside the 14. They couldn't go inside the 14 to take the shot. But you could take that line out to 21 for definitely 16s or minors or whatever, or even a wee bit further out for senior, but 21, say the 21 would be fine. For the hurling, maybe a wee bit further out. But I'm saying as I took it to the 14 that day. So if one team misses, the other team just can't go in and fist the ball over the bar. They have to take the shot from outside a line that you'll decide. And as I say, it could be the 14, it could be the 21, whatever. Okay, right. That's great. We'll move on. Right. Okay. The next one is 1v1, 2v2, or 3v3. Well, ignore this ball. That's not, the ball shouldn't be there. Some of this animated stuff maybe didn't come out perfect. So forget about that there. That's supposed to be a ball, but it's not supposed to be lying there. So what's happening here is all the players are lined up on the end line, a forward and a defender, in pairs. You can have a forward and a defender, and the coach is out on the 65 and he's playing the ball. When I'll show it first and then I'll explain it maybe best, coaches. Just watch it. Hopefully it's playing. Hold on. You see, that's a 1v1. This time it's a 2v2. And this will play in a continuous reel, coaches. This is brilliant for forwards to go by defenders. You could be going just for goals here, or you could decide a point will do, but you could just have them. The forward has to go by and look for the goal, taking the man on. And even you can have it, as I say, 2v2, or you can go 3v3, but I think it's best 1v1 or 2v2. 3v3, very rarely are the three players playing up in the full forward line now. So you can play 3v3, no bother. You could have another player coming from deep. You could have another player coming from this line, for example, coming from deep, and a marker with them, whatever, to make it only have two running out from the end line. What else can I say about that game? For hurling, it could be even further out in the 65-yard line. That's in the 65 there for the footballers. It could be further out for the hurlers. As I said to you, it can be 1v1, 2v2. How do you do that? Say if you've, for example, 25 players that's in it, you have your goalkeeper, and then you have 12 pairs numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right up to 12. And each number would be a pair, a defender, and a attacker, and a tackler, whatever you want. And you call out a number. If you call out 1, then it's only, or you could call out 1 and 3. So that could be 2 groups coming out. You could call out 7 and 10. That's 2 pairs coming out to make a 2v2. So you can number them 1 to 12 and then call 1 number, 2 numbers, 3 numbers to make a 3v3, but they have to be in pairs, a defender and a forward. Maybe another way of doing it, if you coaches, if you're gonna decide you're gonna do it in definitely in twos. If you have 24 players, what you could do is number them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this side of the goals. So you'll have 2 1s, you'll have 2 2s, 2 3s, 2 4s, 2 5, 2 6s. So all you have to do is shout 1 number. But and I give you another example at the very start, numbering every group and calling out 1 number, calling out 2 numbers to have a 1v1 or a 2v2. Brilliant wee game. Again, they're going for, you might see them going to put the ball over the bar there. You can go for goals. I think it's a game that you can really encourage teams to go for a goal in that game. Again, what I would say is great for defensive play, great for forward play. Another wee thing before I move on, coaches, change over and get your forwards to become defenders and your defenders to become forwards. Because in modern day football and hurling and camogie and ladies football, you know, everybody has to be prepared to tackle and everybody has to be fit to score or set up score. So you can change your format some night and let the defenders have the opportunity to attack. And what else? No, I think I've said, I've told you everything about that game there. One last thing, what you could do is, instead of playing the perfect ball all the time to the forwards, and that's what you're doing in that game, the coach who's standing out in the middle of the field or out in the 65 is waiting for the forwards to move, but and to play the perfect ball. And so it's very hard for the defenders. But what I would say is mix it up. If the forwards don't move in 1 or 2 seconds, play a 50-50 ball on, play a 60-40 ball on, play a 40-60 ball on to see how the forward does, play a 50-50 ball on to see how the forward does. The forwards are not going to get a perfect ball all the time, so they have to be able to fight for the ball. And it also is good for the defenders. If the defenders knows that you're going to play the ball within 2 seconds, at least they can anticipate. They can read the. It's very hard if you hold the ball as a coach for 5 or 6 to 7 seconds and wait on the forward to eventually get away. Give the defender a wee chance. 2 or 3 seconds, if the forward's not away, play the ball, and it's good for the defender stepping out, getting a hand in, getting 2 hands to the ball, whatever the case to be. Okay, that's great. Next one, attack the tackler. Another wee, again, I'll just let you look at it here. It nearly explains itself in the video there, coaches. Roughly have that line of markers there, maybe in the 21, and have this line of markers, or have this, the ball's out in the 45 roughly. And this defenders, or the forwards here, that's in the orange, or whatever you want, the brown, have them just about 2 steps away from the defenders. So on the coach's whistle, they run in, round the cone. The defenders have to go around 1 post or 2 posts. The forwards have to run out and pick a ball up on the 45, and it's 1v1. The game's on, and the forwards is going for the goal. Not a point, not counting this game. They go for the goal, because if you look at any good team nowadays, any good team, every attack, the first thing they think about is the goal. Yes, if the goal's not on, they'll take their point, but their goal is in their mind. If there's a half a sniff for a goal, they'll go for it. So it's good to encourage your forwards to go by defenders to go for the goal. Great for defending too. Again, what else? No, as I said to you, 21-yard line, and then 2 steps away, the forwards, and they run out around the thing. Another one what you could do some night, again, like the last one, coaches, let the defenders be the forwards, and let the forwards be the defenders, which is a very good one. Just change over. Give the defenders an opportunity to attack, and it's good for the forwards to learn how to tackle and defend. Okay. Right, this one here, 6 of the best, coaches. Hold on a wee minute. 6 of the best. Right. Just play it for you, coaches, here. And just watch it. And then I'll talk about it here, coaches. Hopefully it's playing for you. Okay, just what's happening here, coaches, is 6 balls on the 45-yard line. Oh, sorry, they're on the 65 there. There's 6 balls on 65, and you can take it again. You decide what length's the best for your group of players, and they have 6 attacks with the 6 footballs, and see how much they can score with the 6 attacks. If you have 24 players that's in, why not 12v12 plus your goalkeeper? Why not if you have 28, 30 players that's in? Because in modern day Gaelic football, and even hurling now, but especially Gaelic football, there's a lot of bodies behind the ball. So it's a great wee game this year to get your players seasoned in getting through the blanket defence and trying to get scores. So they have to be patient in the ball, and they have to recycle, they have to work the openings, and they have to try come on the loop to get the score. So they have 6 attacks. How much do they score? Then you change over, the other team goes. And keep the scores. Keep the scores. If you want less traffic, coaches, to be in the game, for example, less bodies, and you have 30 players, then go 3 10s. 2 teams on, 1 team rests. So 1 versus 2, then 2 versus 3, and then 3 versus 1 on 6 attacks. Or you can go for a certain amount of time, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever. So you can have, but as I say, sometimes it's good to have plenty of traffic. And as I say, you can have them balls in the 65 and whatever, and hurlers can be further out, possibly, or whatever. But one thing can I say, after every attack, when the forwards go to, after the first ball, when the ball is intercepted or the ball goes wide or score, then forget about that ball. You run to pick up the second ball on the 65. But the player that's marking the player who's picking up the ball has to give him the space or her the space to pick the ball up before they start tackling. So they have to allow the player a couple of meters to get the ball up, and then that's game on again. And remember, when the ball is intercepted or over the sideline or over the bar, into the net or wide, forget about that ball and go and get your second ball on the 65. Great game, brilliant game again, very intense, and as I say, great, I must say, a great wee game. I'll just play it a wee second here. As I say, you can go for points or goals or whatever the case may be. That's recycling, coaches, so don't pass any remarks. The tape is going on. It's only a 8 or 9 second clip. So hopefully you have got the gist of the game, and I call it 6 to the best. Okay, next wee game is called Gates game. Great for defending and great. Somebody had asked the question, believe it or not, whenever they registered for this webinar tonight, about backs and forwards. Is it good to be doing backs and forwards and thinning every night? Does it relate to the game? What I would say to that, when we were growing up and playing, we used to play a lot of backs and forwards, and I was a wee back, and it got wild boring because the coach was always saying, whenever the backs turned the ball over, kick the ball out to me on the halfway line, and then I'll play another ball into the forwards. There was very little enjoyment in it for the defenders. But in this wee game here, there is enjoyment in it for defenders, because the defenders have an opportunity to score as much as the forwards. So I have 3 gates there, as you see. A gate to the left here, close to the sideline. Likewise to the right, and one in the middle. Could I say make them gates big, coaches? Don't make them small, because it's easier for the forwards to run back and defend the gate. But if you make the gates big, then it's very hard to forwards have to go man on man. They can't defend a big gate. So what I'm talking about, when you make them 7 or 8 steps wide, at least, them gates. And the game continues. Every ball, every restart starts with the goalkeeper. This is brilliant for goalkeepers. And now, with the new rules, the ball will be starting on the 21. If it's for under 14s, more than likely it's out of the hand. From 16s up, it's off the ground. For girls, it's different. It's out of the hand. And for hurling, it'll be from the small rectangle. But all I'm saying is the ball starts. I'm looking at football here. The ball starts from the 21. It's a kick out. Every restart, no matter if the forwards score into these goals or the defenders score into these gates, next restart is on the 21. And it's a great one for the goalkeeper and the defenders, because the goalkeeper is looking for the defenders on every restart. So you know how important restarts is now in Gaelic football and every sport. So what I'm saying to you is the goalkeeper has somebody to aim for on every kick out. He's looking for, so it's up to the defenders to get moving, get into position, find space, and it's up to the goalkeeper to find them. If the goalkeeper finds a defender, then they work the ball through the gates to the score. If the forwards won the ball, then they go for the score. And then after a score, either through the gates to the defenders or by the forwards, the next ball, and remember that, starts with a kick out or a puck out. Always with the defending side. And it's brilliant to make forwards work hard. Work hard. They have to win that ball back. They have to win the ball back. They're not going to get a handy ball. So for them to score, they have to turn it out, take it off the defenders. So it's brilliant to make forwards work so hard. Can I say one wee thing? See what them gates when you set them up, say whatever length, it could be the 65, whatever. For hurling, it could be different, it could be further out. See that middle gate? Take that back maybe another 2 or 3 steps further. So to have them that gate, the two gates out in the sideline, have them in line, but have this out a wee bit further, but the same distance apart. I like staggering that middle gate. Why am I offering 2 points to the middle gate? and 1 point to the side. Why I'm doing that in this game for is if the forwards let the opposition down the centre, there's a better chance they're going to score. So I'm punishing the forwards for letting the team coming out down the centre, and that's why I'm allowing 2 points. They have to be in possession of the ball going through the gates. They can't kick the ball through the gates. That's no good. They have to be in possession of the ball going through the gates, and then the game ends. I offer a point to either side because it's not as bad when you divert the opposition down the sidelines. And if I was you, I'd take them gates a wee bit further out to the sidelines, maybe 2 or 3 steps in from the sideline, and then 7 steps. And at least whenever they're going down that side, it's a long way to your goals. At least they're doing their best. They're keeping them away, but going down the centre. Now, what else? Remember, every restart starts with a goalkeeper. Forward score per normal, 3 points for a goal, 1 point for a point. And the only other one, sometimes I would play 2 points for the outside gates and 1 point for the centre. What am I doing that for, coaches? Why am I offering only 1 point to the centre and 2 points for the side gates? I'll tell you why. It's encouraging. If you want your defence, if you're playing against a strong spine of a team in your next game, in your next competitive game, and you're encouraging your team. I think back to who was it? We know Lockie years played a lot of football down the wings, and they kept away from the opposition centre, who was a lot stronger. So by offering 2 points for the side gates, you're encouraging your players when they come out of defence to come wide, because that's the way you want them to play in the next game against the team who's very strong down the centre. So by encouraging 2 points to the gates, you're sort of by offering 2 points to the gates, you're thinking your team coming out of defence is going wide. Not a great game, brilliant wee game. Okay, we're going well here. Right, 4v4 full pitch. I'm just going to play it here, coaches. Okay, it's playing on a continuous reel too, coaches. I'm going to explain it now. What happens is, say for example you have 24 players that's in and 2 goalkeepers. Right, your 2 goalkeepers going to each end. You have 24 players. You 16 of them, 4 groups of 4 down on this side, and bib two of them with, say, for example, 2 teams in 4 bibbed in red and 2 teams in 4 bibbed in green. Up on this side, you have the other 8 players, 1 group bibbed in red and the other group bibbed in green. And what happens is here, I'm saying 4v4. 3v3 is very tight. 5v5, you could get a, you make, especially at adult level, you make get a player taking a wee bit easier, holding back. At 4v4, there's very little hiding places. So the coach throws the ball up in the 21, and the 4v4 competes for the ball in the 21. Whichever team wins the ball, they're going the whole way looking for a score. If the other team turns the ball over, they're still going to the same end. The ball will always finish at that end of the field, either by the goalkeeper saving it, by a goal, by a point, or a wide ball. And you keep, and then whenever the ball goes dead, just watch. The next 8 players come on, 4v4, and they go the whole way down. And then they get a rest, and you throw the ball up for the next 4v4, and they go the full length of the field, trying to create a score. And remember, it's intense, all action, and as I say, what else have I to say of that game? It's great game. Full. If you won the ball and throw in, you're attacking. If the ball's turned over, the other team's attacking to the same end. And it's, as I say, after the score or after the ball goes dead, then 8 players step out, and the next 8 players step in, and they go the full length. When them 8 players go the full length, whichever team takes the last shot, all 8 players step out, and the next 8 players step in and go there. Absolutely great game for attacking at pace, tackling. You have everything in that game. It can be played the same for hurling. Remember, when the ball's turned over, they're still going to the same end of the field. You know, I like myself when I do this game. I like myself to follow the play up and referee it and talk them through it. And I'll be, there's me here, whatever. I'm at this end to throw the ball in for the next one. I'll follow the play up, and I'll be here again to throw the ball in for the next 8 coming out after them 8's finished, and so on. You could have a coach there, and you could have yourself down there, but you still need somebody to referee it and follow the play and blow the free. When it's a foul, it's always a foul. Don't let them away at fouling and pulling and dragging and thinning, because when they go out to play the next match and they give away 6 or 7 scoreable frees, you'll be shouting at them, why did you foul inside the scoring zone? When you were allowing them to foul in your training sessions, you practice what you preach, and as I say, you make sure you blow the free in the training session. I think that's it. I think I've explained. I'm hoping I'm not forgetting about any coaches. So hopefully you've picked that up. Okay, we'll move on to the next one. All right, 3-part pitch. As I say, we done these activities animated about maybe 12 years ago, and maybe this was maybe more the norm then than it is now. Rarely would you get, this is zone A, the keep ball. This is the defensive zone. Again, how do you mark that out? Very simply, coaches. A line of markers across the 45. A line of markers across the opposite 45. So you have 3 zones, zone A, zone B, and zone C. Zone A is a defensive zone. And if you look at the modern day game, it's all short passes, keeping the ball, working the ball, very little kicking in this area. And then when you get the ball into this middle zone, you're trying to get the early ball into the forwards. But as I say, rarely now do you see 6 players up. So that could be 2 or 3 or 4 at the maximum. There could be 2 of those players back in that middle zone. More than likely there will be. And you'll only be playing 2, 3, 4 up. So you're looking to create a wee bit of space in there. So we'll just play this. What I'm saying is, keep ball in zone A. This is a zone to set up. 1 or 2 passes or 3 seconds. 1 or 2 passes, maximum say 2 hand passes, and the ball has to move quick into the forward zone, or 3 seconds, and then the forwards, at least the forwards know the ball's coming in early. But now you're not, as I said to you, you'll not be playing 6 players up in the forward line. Usually it's 4 or 3 or 5. You usually withdraw 1, if not 2. So it's only an idea, giving you an idea, coaches. So we'll just play it here and see how it plays. Keep ball into the middle section. 1 pass, and went in straight into the forward line and over the bar. If it was just as handy as that. And remember, coaches, let's keep ball at zone A, which usually happens. Zone B, 3 seconds or 2 passes, whatever you decide. It could be 2 passes. It could be a maximum of 2 passes, and then you get the ball into the forwards. And then again, I wouldn't be putting any restrictions on the forwards if they need 2 passes or 1 pass or 3 passes before they get the score. Or if they need no passing, it's over the bar. So again, it's a full game, but just lining your pitch out that got there and playing that game. It's a conditioned game to get your players to play like that in those 3 areas of the field, which is very common. Yes, you're going to say to me, Tony, a lot of it's through the hand now and it's less kicking. But if you can get that early ball into the forward line, it's still a great ball when the movement's there, when the pass is on, but not a forced pass when it's not on. So that's great. We're nearly there, coaches. Hopefully you understand that one. And this game here, just going to play it here. It's called Wipeout. There's only what is it? 6v6 there. This usually is played full 15 against 15, or if you have 26 players, it's in the 28, 14 against 14, or whatever the case to be. Full length of field, wipeout. The example shown there that if you don't get 3 scores in a row, then your scores has been wiped out. Your first 2 scores has been wiped out. If you notice, the purples has turned the ball over. There's their second score. Now they're going to get 3 in a row to get a score. And we see, hold on now, purples have it. So they've got it. They've turned the ball over. They've got their score. And now the reds have it. And the red scored. So, but because of the red scoring, purple's got 2 scores and then the red score. The red needed to get the next score to get that score. But I would change that, coaches, slightly. As I said, we done this about 12 years ago. I would change that slightly. Instead of 3 scores, you could go for 2 in a row. And if they get 2 in a row, for example, if they get a goal in the first move and they get a point off of them, that's 4 points. And the game's on again. Instead of, because it's very hard maybe to get, but you can play 3 in a row if you want to, and they have to get 3 in a row before they get a score registered, before it counts. Or as I say, maybe 2 scores enough, but I would count the 2 scores they got. If it was 2 goals, I would say they've got 6 points instead of 1, just because they've got 2 in a row or 3 in a row. I would count the scores up, and whatever they got, and those 2 in a row, if you're going for 2 in a row or 3 in a row, I would give it to them. And again, coaches, make sure you count the scores. If you're not keeping the scores, the players will lose interest. Everybody wants to win everything. Everybody wants to win every wee game in Finland. Not a great game. As I say, you can play the full pitch if you have the number of players. That there is only showing an example of, we only use 6 wee animation, 6v6 there. So don't pass any marks in that there. You wouldn't be playing 6v6 in the full pitch. You're playing 26 or 28 or whatever. If there's anything else, I think I've explained it. Just the full game, and as I say, it's called Wipeout. So hopefully you made sense of that there. We'll ask any questions to finish up, put into Paul, and Paul will put it on to me there. But that's what it is. Remember, Wipeout, that's showing 3. You have to get 3, but 2 might do, and you count the scores there. What's that doing? It's getting the attacking team after the score, not to celebrate the score, but really focus on the next restart from the goalkeeper. That you're looking at the next restart, because some players have a habit of tuning off. For them, 2 or 3 seconds after the score, they're admiring their score, the team's admiring their score, and the goalie's out in the 21. He's the restart ticking, and the ball is over the bar into your net before you know it. And the whole thing has been cancelled out. So it's making players to tune in for the next ball out, to be ready for the next ball, to try to get the next score. Great. So I think Ian's got that, coaches. Right. We're nearly there. That's all the wee games. I want to finish with a couple of wee things here, coaches. And that's us. I maybe went on further, 25 past 8. We'll finish off here. This is a wee video, 3-minute video, coaches. Change can be good. I think this can be used in, not alone in our games, but it can be used at your work and companies and businesses, whatever. I think this makes sense. As I say, it's a wee 3-minute video. There's wee statements which relates to our games. And as I say, I've headed it here. Change can be good, and change can be good. Sometimes you just can't stick to the old habits. So as I say, this can be used for businesses, for work, for whatever, but it definitely relates to our games and our coaching. So just watch this, coaches. Hopefully you got the gist of what I was what that was about. I think that's very important, as I say, to us coaches as much as anything else nowadays. I think you'll get a few wee things out of that there that it's maybe at times it's important to change. So we're going to touch on the questions here, but I'm going to throw that up to here, coaches, when I'm taking the questions, because just to let you know, next week we have Malachy O'Rourke on a Q&A. I'm doing a question and answer with Malachy here next week, so I think you'll really enjoy that one. And that's a few of the topics that we'll be talking about. And I'm sure you all know Malachy and success he's had with clubs and counties over the last number of years. He's done tremendous work as a manager. So we'll be looking at it from a management point of view next week, and no better person than Malachy O'Rourke to talk about that, because no matter where he went, he got success. So hopefully Paul will be sending out the registration with all the ones that has registered over the last couple of weeks, and there'll be a registration for new coaches to link on and to register for the session next Wednesday night. But that's for next Wednesday night. For tonight, there was a lot of questions come in when coaches was registering for this webinar. So I'm going to take a few of them, and I can't cover them all. I'm aware it's 8:30, and I want to be finished here in maximum 15 minutes. And I'm sure Paul had a few, and we'll look at them. We'll try to look at a few of them too here. So I'm going to go through a few here, coaches. I'm just going to read them out here. When giving advice to a defender, Tony, what do you consider priority for him or her to learn as a defender? Well, I would say to that, and I played defence all my life in football. What I would say that is, you want, as a defender, your first thing is trying to get to the ball first. Anticipation. Yes, there's times with especially that wee short punt in from the 45, it's very hard. When the ball's traveling from further out the field, you can anticipate when she's coming, and it's about just taking that half a step before the forward. No matter how slow you are, and no matter how fast he or she is, you'll get to the ball first. So what I'm saying to you is, you want to try to anticipate, try to get a hand, 2 hands, but wait to get 2 hands to the ball. Or if you're not going to be there first, you want to be a good second. What I mean by that is, if he or she gathers the ball, he or she will not be fit to turn and look up, that you're close on the tackle. Whenever they don't do anything, as I say, don't be too close to pushing the back or go away stupid free. Just whenever they're the ball, you're there to put on the proper tackle. Don't give them space to turn and look up and get paced up on you. So anticipation first of all, try to get the ball first, and as I say, if not, be a good second. Second one, how do you best encourage scoring with both feet? Practice with both feet. Just practice from a young age with both feet. No, there's no reason why young ones can't be practicing with both feet. Another wee thing that you could do, I heard coaches doing this one. When you're playing a wee game, you're going to say, Tony, when you're playing a wee game there, how do you know if they're in their strong foot or weak foot? Just simply sock up and sock down. Say some nights say sock down for the weak side or sock up, and then at least when you're refereeing it, one sock up or one sock down on your weak side, at least you'll know when you're refereeing it that they're playing everything on their weak side, or just a wee wristband, just a wee homemade wristband on their weak side. And when you're refereeing it, then you'll see them playing on their weak side and not trying to fool you. So just simple as that. How do you manage with varying standards within a group? Just simply, yes, you'll get that. You'll get that in most age levels. Condition the game. Whatever game you're playing in thin condition, say you're stronger players, they're only allowed one touch, one solo, or whatever, or they have to bring in wee Mickey into the play before they can score, or just restrictions on your better players. I know you might say they're suffering, but just stages through your coaching session, just restrictions like that there, or the ball has to go through Mary before you can score, or whatever the case to be. Just put on a wee condition that everybody gets an opportunity, and that's key. What are the best coaching methods to use for developing tactical and team play? Games. That's where lots of decisions in the games. And drills, or I call them sometimes activities. Yes, and I think this is one of the questions coming up. There's a room for a drill or activity, whatever you want to call it. Game-related drills, absolutely. But in games, they have to make decisions, lots of decisions. And whenever they are playing wee game, coaches, we talked earlier about spotting and fixing. Spotting and fixing during the game and is brilliant. So 6 is backs and forwards a realistic representation of game scenarios. Is backs and forwards a realistic representation of game scenarios? No, I done a wee game there night. That's what I talked about at the time. The Gates game. That wee Gates game would be of game scenario, because you have a lot of bodies in one half of the field, and that's what you're going to have in a lot of cases. And then you have some of the defenders to work and get the ball out of the fence to the 65 through the gates or over a line. You could have it whatever you want, but playing just backs and forwards and thumping as I said earlier, a defender just kicking the ball out to the coach again. I'm not too sure how much is that game related, and you wouldn't want to be that all the time. I done a wee game 2 weeks ago on my wee session. Who's attacking, defending? It was, you had to get over the line before the ball was allowed to score. That's to me, that's realistic, and that's good for them. What else here? How to keep all levels of players interested and not bored for the full session? Just fun. games. Make sure they're enjoying it. I never seen an underage or another player yet bored if they're enjoying themselves. If there's a smile on their face, they'll be back the next night with another two or three friends with them. So plenty of games. Don't be doing drills, straight lines, and wee Johnny standing maybe 10 deep in a queue, and he's only going to get 2 or 3 touches in 15 or 20 minutes. You wouldn't expect them to come back, coaches. So if you are doing drills, it's in small groups, plenty of handling, plenty of touches, but you can't beat games. Small-sided, conditioned, whatever. Any suggestions on how to overcome a defensive system team without leaving yourself exposed or vulnerable at the back? What I would say about that, coaches, is if you are playing against a team that's very defensive, then it's all about patience. Don't give the ball away. Don't kick it until they're 1 or 2 or 3 sweepers. Patient on the ball, recycle, over and back, wait for the opening, somebody off the shoulder to get in past that line of defenders. Just be patient and don't commit to kicking ball for the sake of kicking it and giving it away. So it's all about patient and just, as I say, drawing them out of that formation. To finish off, we see now, do you feel that drills are still important when working on skills of the game? Do you feel that drills are still important when working on the skills of the game? Game-related drills, coaches, I'm going to say. Game-related. I'm not saying I done stuff 2 weeks ago in the first one, and I said at the time there were more game-related than standing on a wee line and hand pass the ball from the 14 to 21 all night, whatever. There's always a room for drills, but as I say, make sure they're game-related. Do you think a pre-organised screen or pick and roll, as it's called in basketball, could work in GA games? Do you think a pre-organised screen? Well, I think there's a screen. There's a screen in Gaelic football, especially in Gaelic football. You know, the forward or the half forward or the full forward gathers the ball and the player comes round in the loop and outside of him. That's how you lose your marker, coming round in the loop on the outside, and the player on the ball just slips it to him. And then the marker will your player who's giving you the ball, that you're going the loop, the player who's passing the ball off will take the player out, not stepping across. The tackler will not get round you who had the ball, so it'll give the player that you're passing the ball to them 1 or 2 seconds to kick the ball over the bar or set up the score, whatever the case may be. So to me, that is a bit of a screen. That's good play, and you can see a lot of teams doing that. The full forward or corner forward winning the ball, and then another player coming out round the outside of him and just slip the ball to him, and the player that had the ball sort of takes the other player out, but not illegally. It's fair. It's fair. The tackler can't go anywhere. There's one here. Is a new 20-meter mark rule being introduced at club juvenile at all age levels? Yes, as far as I know, yes, from under 14 up, the 20-meter mark rule is, and from the outside the 45 to inside, has been introduced. Absolutely. Just to finish off, coaches, I'm just looking here. Are there any more? We see now. Sorry, coaches. Are there any more? Are there any more? Hold on. There's a lot here that I have.
Maybe I can come on here, Tony, and give you.
I see them here, Paul. I think I see them here. Hold on. Well, just give me a couple there, Paul. Then, if you. I
suppose a few coaches have their coaching hats on, which is the night's all about. A few wee variations of your couple of your games. The time to kick. Some suggested when the person kicks the ball, could that kicker then put pressure on the opposition team? When the person kicks out the ball on time to kick,
time to kick.
Yeah, could that person then go across and put pressure on the other kicker?
Absolutely brilliant.
Okay.
Absolutely brilliant. I forgot to. Yes, the member from the other team could come across, put pressure on the other player kicking the ball. Superb.
Okay. Another question here: How do you spot and fix a faulty scoring technique? So maybe teams are poor getting scores, or individuals are poor getting scores. How do you try and sort that out?
Well, again, that's a good question, because I heard I heard talking about this one night recently there. I think it might have been a Philip Kerr, who I know well from Mahra was talking about players sitting back in the shot or lying back, and again, it's about spotting and correcting. Some players do it; they lie back, they don't have the head over the ball, they're not hitting this. A lot of them there, coaches, what I would say, sorry, I'm these here thing. What I would say is sometimes there, it's like the golfer that's playing golf. If you lift your head too quick, I looked at Peter Canavan when he kicked the ball. Whenever Peter was playing, you think he counted 1, 2 before he lifted the head. So the key coaching points here when you're kicking a score or kicking a ball to a teammate is, before you drop that ball onto the foot, coaches, you're looking up for the target. You're looking up for the goals. After that, you have to focus that in your brain. You have to embed that in your brain, and then everything else is focused on ball and foot. That ball go down onto the foot. You hitting the sweet spot of the ball with whether it's the instep or whatever you're using to kick the ball over the bar, and that head cannot lift till the ball is nearly on its way over the bar. You can't lift the head too quick or you slice your kick. Very important.
Okay, just the last couple of questions, because you've covered most of them anyway on your talking there. Your game 6 of the best, where you had the balls out in the 65-metre line. Somebody suggested, maybe you just forgot to mention it, that a different player must start each attack. So instead of the same player get the ball every time, a different player must start each attack, and that means all players start the attack, at least once.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely. I forgot about that. I absolutely forgot that. Yes, very, very important. It's not the same player, because what will happen there, if you allow the same player to start every attack, there'll be a lazy player who will stay out at the 45 all the time and take the handy ball to start all the time. No, you're absolutely right. A new player to start the attack. Superb, coaches.
Okay, just last question. How do coaches read the game for coachable moments in order to check for learning? So how do you figure out that your players are learning the point you're trying to get across?
Sorry, Paul, say it again.
How does the coach read the game for coachable moments in order to check for learning? So when you're doing a drill, how do you know, or an activity or a game, how do you know that your players are getting the point, what you're trying to get across?
I'm sure you'll know if they're executing what you're asking them to execute. If you're putting a point across, you'll know by their actions and the activity they're doing or the game they're doing, if they're doing it right. Would you be stopping and fixing all the time during a session? No, I wouldn't encourage to be stopping and fixing, because that can interrupt the session. I wouldn't be continually stopping, but spotting and fixing, yes, there's times you have to, but I wouldn't be continually doing it. How do you know? You'll know by them executing the skill or the technique, and more important, you'll know come the next match, have they got your point.
Right, that's brilliant. We'll wrap it up there now. Tony, thanks. That's brilliant. I'm sure the participants have plenty of ideas, and they're mad keen to get out in the pitch when things settle down. Just a reminder that this presentation will be available on the Ulster GAA YouTube channel over the next few days. And as Tony mentioned, we'll be hosting another webinar next Wednesday evening with Malika Rourke, a question and answer. And I'll be inviting everyone who registered to attend, so you'll be getting an email shortly for the next few days to register again. So thanks, Tony, and everyone who joined us, and hope to see you again next Wednesday night. So good evening all.
Thank you, coaches. Thank you.